He goes, no way. He goes, no way. God is free to judge. The passage that really hit me about this was in Romans 5. There were two words that he uses. In Romans 5, verses 9 and 10, and I tried to dwell on this. I couldn't handle dwelling on it too long. But in Romans 5, verse 9, it says, since therefore we have been justified by his blood, much more shall we be saved by him from the wrath of God. For if while we were enemies, you see that verse? For if while we were, what? Enemies, we were reconciled to God by the death of his Son, much more now that we are reconciled shall we be saved by his life. I dwelt on that word. I dwelt on those two words, wrath and enemy. Okay, Chrissy read a verse from Job 38 where God answers Job out of the whirlwind and says these words, brace yourself like a man. I will question you when you answer me. Because you got this all wrong. People on the earth are like, well, God, why would God, make me like this and then say I can't live this way? Why would God, why this? Because we think we're so brilliant. And God says, you know what? Brace yourself like a man. I'm about to ask you questions and you're going to answer me. That's intense. That means at the end of our lives, I know a lot of you have questions for God, but the end of your life is not about God. I don't understand why you did that. The end of your life is about him saying, no, you know what? Actually, I'm the judge. And you just sit there and get ready for what I'm about to bring before you. And I picture that God, upstairs, I'm welling up with tears by myself, just going, God, I was your enemy. Like, I can't imagine. Okay, think about it. Just try to imagine standing before God. Okay, this being sitting on his throne, lightning, thunder, fire, 100 million angels, and they're screaming out his holiness, and you're standing before him, and he sees you as his enemy. And says, now I'm going to pour out the wrath that I've been storing up for you. And I just sat up there going, God, I can't imagine being in that position. I can't imagine being in your presence to face your judgment and your wrath. The Bible talks about, in the same passage, about his fury, his wrath, and him saying, brace yourself. There's crazy things in this passage. And I know you're going to hear the complete opposite the rest of the week. From everyone you work with, everyone in our city, and the majority of our nation. Come on, God's not like that. That's why I'm going, read it for yourself. Read these words. But so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so says. Well, let everyone say what they want to say. Because here's what God says. And if I ever tell you anything contrary from what's written, then forget about me. Don't listen to me anymore. The Bible says in the last days, there's going to be so many false teachers, so people are going to walk away. Some people saying, come on, God doesn't have a wrath. God doesn't have a day of judgment. It's like, what Bible are you reading? But then here's the beautiful thing. Okay, what's natural? Okay? What's natural for us when we hear, wait, so everyone's got to stand before God and God's going to judge them? The natural thing for all of us to do, I feel it in me, is you try to do something to fix that, right? You think, okay, well, I'm going to give more. In fact, we should take an offering right now. I'll give more. I'll do, I'll serve more. I'm going to stop swearing. I always want to stop swearing. I'm going to stop this. The pornography, it's done. I'm going to, and that's all good. I hope you stop all of that. But it's almost like we want to do this because we want to fix it. That's the natural response. But what the Bible teaches, okay, and I want to make sure we're clear on this. In Romans chapter 4, well, first, Romans 3, because that's before 4. Romans 3, verse 19. Now we know that whatever the law says, it speaks to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be stopped and the whole world may be held accountable to God. For by the works of the law, no human being will be justified in his sight, since through the law comes knowledge of sin. Do you get that? Okay, he says the law. Okay, the law is there. God has his law. He has his commands. You know many of the commands, right? I don't know them all, but you know of the law. Most of you know the 10 Commandments. He goes, you know the law.